Make a Path presents Let's Talk. Welcome to Make a Path Presents. My name is Ronnie Hayes, and today, let's talk The Walking Dead comic character game ideas for TellTale games. Now, before we get into this, I do want to mention real quick that David Alpert from Skybound Entertainment did mention that they like to add story that hasn't been seen before. For example, they don't want to make a game where you play as a character and the story you play in is from the comic books. You know what I mean? They want to do storylines that haven't been shown to the fans yet. Now, jumping right into some of my personal ideas, and feel free to share your ideas down in that comment box, but staying true to my love for Dwight, hashtag Ronnie Hayes for Dwight, maybe we get a Dwight and Sherry origin series. Now, I think this is awesome, and the important points that we'll go over is, number one, we get Dwight's origin and meeting Negan, however that comes about. Number two, we get Dwight and Sherry's love triangle and the story behind her becoming one of Negan's many wives. And this would lead into Dwight's face being burned. Oh, I love that idea. Now, we can end Dwight's game where we're first introduced to Dwight in the story, in the comic story, and I think that's powerful because one of the last moments you'll experience controlling Dwight will be killing a fan favorite, Abraham. I think that's very powerful for a game. I love that whole idea. I think there's a huge wealth of entertainment and story behind the whole Dwight Negan thing, the Dwight and Sherry love triangle, Sherry becoming Negan's wife and all that, his face getting burned. I think there's so much. That feels like a gold mine in my eyes, story-wise. I love it. It seems like it's tragic, it's heartbreaking, and not only can this, like many other things, help that character as a brand as far as Dwight, but it can also add some more value to that story itself by giving it that backstory in a game. Now, moving right along real quick, Jesus. Obviously, Jesus is also one of my ultimate favorite characters from the Walking Dead comic, and I think a Jesus origin story would be friggin' awesome. Only in the Walking Dead universe, however, not pre-apocalypse, but post-apocalypse. And I think that will also intertwine with the mystery of Negan and the Saviors, because remember, he didn't even meet Negan and everything like that. I don't want to go into too much detail, but obviously that will also be the beginnings of the Hilltop story as well. So that's two things right there. We get Jesus and the Hilltop storyline in that game itself. Now, here's an interesting idea for my third pick right off the top of my head. What if we get DLC for 1 to 2 episodes of Shane? This is going to start with Rick being shot, and it will take us all the way up to the return of Rick in the group. We get to watch Shane and Lori come to be fully, and we get to see his moment as the hero in the story. I think that's an awesome idea, and I love that idea. And again, it could help for merchandising. You add some more power to that character as far as the brand of that character, and it might be easier to pump out the Walking Dead exclusive Skybound action figures of Shane. Now, although I do believe there's a lot of fans that will buy that action figure right now, I believe this will help sell that merchandise. And it's something I think fans will be interested in. A pre-comic book story Negan as well. That's something we don't even need to go into detail about. I obviously would love that. And I'm sure a bunch of you are also going to put in the comments that is a character you want to see get his own miniseries in TellTale games. Screw a miniseries. Give Negan 5 episodes and connect it with Dwight's story while you're at it. The potential for this is freaking unbelievable. Negan, Ezekiel, DLC, mini-stories, full seasons. Holy shit. Intertwining storylines. Reoccurring characters. Damn! Goldmine. Now, these are just things off the top of my head, and I'll let you know, depending on the success of these games and these characters' stories, more characters will become possible in the world of The Walking Dead made by TellTale Games. For example, Aaron and Eric, they might share a game, share a story. Heath and Denise can share a game, share a story. And I know 100% that a Carl miniseries would sell. I mean, this is a little more difficult, I'll admit that, since they like giving news story like I explained before, but in Carl's case, it would be crazy to start with the No Way Out, for example. Imagine opening with Carl and him and his dad getting ready to leave in the house for the No Way Out story arc, and we run and we see it in Carl's eyes while he still has both of his eyes left. We follow running behind Rick, and then he gets shot and he's in the coma, and we wake up and play Carl as he's waking up from that coma, and then we can do the whole storyline from there. And I do admit 100% that is probably the most difficult one to do, because it will be extremely difficult and restrictive for TellTale Games. But I think it would be awesome for fans, and I think it would be fan service. They would love it, but there's potential there. It should be something to look into. Now, I can already see years down the line, you'll have limited edition ultimate box sets, maybe multiple discs holding all or some of the games, and maybe even mini statues. Clementine, Lee, Kenny, Michonne, Dwight, Shane, etc. Or even bases that connect of like character portrait statues of the TellTale game characters for collectors. I think there's a world of possibilities here with mini-series, with full game episodes, focusing more along the lines of Clementine because the fan base is already built there, using mini-series to give background and origin stories to the characters we already know and love in the comics, and I think that DLC will help bridge the gap with some of the smaller stories, like Shane, for example. Now, I would love to hear your guys' opinions on this. What do you think would make a good character story for TellTale Games to explore? Please put all your opinions down in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Subscribe, man.